26, left fielder number 12, Christian Malello. Batting 7th, catcher number 39, Logan Karofsky. Batting 8th, third baseman number 23, Michael Hooley. Batting 9th, second baseman number 19, Kevin Nolan. Batting 10th, center fielder number 34, Neil Sander. On the mound for game 2 for the Doubledays, number 26, Gavin McGuires.
Fans, please welcome Tarp Skunks and Superman Vinny to throw out the ceremonial first pitch.
And welcome back to Jamestown. It's game 2 of our 2-game doubleheader between the Jamestown Tarp Skunks and the Auburn Doubledays. Auburn in game 1 won another tight one by a final score of 4-2. They currently lead the season series 5-0 and are going for the season series sweep with a possible win tonight. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for the Doubledays as they go up against left-hander Evan Berta. Leading things off will be the shortstop Carson Gross. Batting second, the designated hitter Hazel Martinez. Batting third, the extra hitter AJ Wenrich. Batting fourth, the catcher Bobby Stang. Batting fifth, the first baseman Garrett Prosper. Batting sixth, the left fielder Christian Malillo. Batting seventh, the right fielder Logan Kowalski. Batting eighth, the third baseman Michael Woolley. Batting ninth, the second baseman Kevin Dolan. And batting 10th, rounding off the order, is Emil Sander. Doubledays are going up against a left-hander Evan Berta, who's currently 1-1 on the year, a 3.03 ERA. In 29 2/3 innings pitched, he's given up 22 hits, 11 runs, 10 of those earned, has walked 17, struck out 30, and opponents are batting .220 on the season against the left-hander. Let's take a look at the Jamestown defensive alignment, announced by manager Jordan Budzill. Out in left field, Alex Olstrom. Center field, Karen Gagno. Drew Garth in right. Third base, Jake Kernodle. Shortstop, Grady Means. Second base, Tommy Gogans. First baseman Colin Houck, and Evan Frahala behind the plate doing the catching. Carson Gross, the switch hitter, leads us off, and the first pitch is a called strike on the outside corner. 0-1, and we are underway. Another left-hander on the mound for Jamestown to start against the Doubledays. The 0-1 pitch on the way, swinging a jam shot off the hands over to second base. Guggens has it. Sends a toss over to first base to get Carson down the line. One away in the top half of the first inning. That brings up Hazel Martinez, who's been a one-man to two-man wrecking crew against Jamestown over the course of these last few ball games. So much so that he had to be intentionally walked in the middle of game 1. Now the left-hander will give a shift with Guggens heading to the 4-hole. The first pitch to Hazel is a fastball taken on the outside corner for a called strike. Hazel with a little nod before he digs himself back in the box. Auburn now 20-17 on the year, 3 games above 500. The 0-1. Fastball taken on the outside corner. Martinez with a little shake of the head. Gets confirmation by the home plate umpire that it was on the black. And the count goes to 0-2 on Hazel. Berta sets up first base side of the rubber, the 0-2. Breaking ball, taking a touch off the outside corner. Hazel was selling out on a full breaking ball outside and saw it all the way through. A dangerous pitch, but it was called ball 1. Infield in the full shade, the 1-2 pitch is swung and popped up third base side. Off with the mask is Frahala. He's running out of room. This one ends up clanking up the light tower and falling in. Oh, we've seen the couple of interesting foul balls, but that's the first time we've ever seen a ball pinball inside a light tower. Always a first for everything, even when you think you've seen it all over the course of 38 games in the summer. The left-hander comes back and set against the left-hander Martinez. The 1-2 pitch is swung on and missed. He speeds up a fastball on his hands. Hazel walks back to the dugout, 1 away. Make that 2 away. Now that brings up AJ Wenrich. Well, AJ's trying to get off the snide. It's been a tough couple of ball games as getting PTSD from last night. There's some sirens from the police cruiser rolling back behind the field. The first pitch is a chopped foul ball off the toe of AJ. Well, if you don't know, or if you haven't seen a Doubledays ball game in Elmira this year, you have to know that every time the Pioneers get a run score, they play probably the most obnoxious, loud siren that could be heard throughout the miles away. The 0-1 pitch is a fastball that clips the outside corner for a called strike 2. Plenty of clouds still overhead, but it's a partly sunny and gorgeous day for game 2. Catcher for Hollis sets up away. The 0-2 pitch is swung on and missed. Wenrich gets a piece of it. It goes right into the glove of the catcher to retire the side. We now go to the bottom half of the first inning. The Doubledays, 0, and the Tarp Skunks coming up.
I think it's time for war. What do you think?
Thanks, Jeremy. All right,
We just created this game, Jamestown. We have 2 Tarp Skunks players that are going to take these water balloons and they have to launch them into the buckets on these girls' heads. The goal of this game is to catch as much water as they can. Whoever catches more water in their bucket is going to win. But you guys, you're liable for soaking them. You guys ready down here? You guys ready down here? 3, 2, 1, go! Oh, we got 1 in. 2 in. Oh, just short here. Oh, we got quite the chemistry going on the right side over here. Oh, that's a good one. Paul, you better try to go a little farther. Oh, that was a good splash. Oh, just close. Oh, she got caught here.
Devin McWaters takes the field against the Tarp Skunks for the first time this year, and I gotta say the promotional content that the Tarp Skunks do in between innings is probably a league best. We're seeing some players for the Tarp Skunks sending water balloon tosses to a couple of interns holding a bucket of water over their head, and I guess the goal is to try and get as many water balloons dunked in the water as possible. You can tell these guys are in college. They're sinking them just like they would on a Friday night. McWaters on the mound for the Doubledays on the season, a .486 ERA, 0-1 in 16 2/3 innings pitched. He's given up 10 runs, 9 of them earned, walked 7, struck out 20, given up 14 hits. Opponents batting .222 against the hard-throwing right-hander, the other Charleston Southern pitcher on the Doubledays roster. Take a look at that defensively. Very similar to last game, except a couple of minor tweaks. Out in left field, Christian Malillo, Emil Sander in center, Logan Krowowski in right, Michael Woolley at third, Carson Gross at short, Kevin Dolan at second, Garrett Prosper at first, and Bobby Stang, your only big change defensively, along with Krowowski will be behind the plate doing the catching. A very familiar lineup for both of these ball clubs. Like we mentioned, Krowowski really the only change in the lineup for the Doubledays from game 1 to game 2. Replaces Bolton as Grady Mee, the leadoff batter, the switch hitter, batting from the left-hand side against the right-hander, McWaters. The first pitch on the way, Mee squaring around to drop a bunt down, pulls back as a fastball catches the outside corner for a called first strike at 0-1. Beautiful, beautiful day. It was 80 degrees at first pitch in game 1, but that temperature has dropped just a tad bit. It's now 76. The 0-1 pitch is a breaking ball taken down low for ball 1, 1 ball and 1 strike, evens up the count. That's right, the Doubledays currently 5-0 in the season series against the Tarp Skunks this year. Here comes the 1-1. Swinging a ground ball, first base side, out past the diving glove of Prosper and on into right field for a lead-off single. Grady Mee leads things off and with a base hit. That will bring up Tommy Googans. Pretty good start time, just a tick past 7:35. Remember, it is about a 3-ish hour bus ride back home to Auburn. So if we can find a way to get this one sped up, that would be incredible. Here's the first pitch. Bunt gets squared around and dropped down the third base line, but it rolls foul. So aggressive already right off the bat for Jamestown. They're looking for answers against the Doubledays, who have just found their number so far this year. And, well, the Doubledays are trying to put a clean season series sweep against Jamestown. Their only team who they have currently a perfect record against this year. The right-hander comes set, taking a look at me, knowing he'll run. The 0-1. Fastball zips in at the knees, taken for a called strike. 0-2 the count now to Googans. Jamestown used to be home to the Jamestown Jammers back in the day. The Montreal Expos minor league affiliate. Here's the 0-2. Chopper up the middle. Dolan will let it go through his legs into center field. He couldn't get the second hop. Grady Mee will motor all the way around to third. First and third here on the error by the Doubleday second baseman, Kevin's first one of the year. It's a big Baltimore chop right off the top of the plate. Instead of trying to get that high hop, he tries to body up the in-between hop, and it ends up eating him up and scooting right through the wickets and puts runners in scoring position early on for Evan Frahala, the catcher. Well, the Doubledays were able to escape quite a bit of trouble earlier in the ball game, back in game one. The first pitch, fastball zips in for a called strike. Again, Frahala squaring around but pulling back at the last second. Michael Woolley playing in on the grass at third base. Prosper playing in because he's holding on. Googans at first base. Googans takes his lead off the bag. Couple looks from McWaters. Here's the 0-1. Bunt gets squared around again, and it's taken for a called strike too. Try to force another bunt down. Instead, it's another called strike. Make that a swinging strike because he does go around on the bunt. Now an 0-2 count to Evan Frahala. The entire field now, except for right, is covered in shade, coming from the pine trees down the left field line as well as the mountains around the area. The 0-2. Fastball upstairs, taken for ball one, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, we've seen Devin hit 91 back inside Falcon Park on the radar gun. So no radar gun here in Jamestown. We can only suspect how hard he is throwing. Probably living somewhere up in the upper 8s. Here's the 1-2. Spins a breaking ball, and it's just cued off the end of the bat, foul down the first base side. So we'll try it again at a ball and 2 strikes on Frahala. It's always a good day for baseball here in the ballpark. Luckily, all that rain is all done and moved away. Here comes the 1-2. Swinging another foul ball back to the screen. We'll try it again at a ball and 2 strikes. Logan Kowalski, the right fielder, playing medium depth in right field, playing straight away. Emil Sander playing in. Playing deep in left field is Christian Malillo. On the very back line of the batter's box for Hala. The 1-2. Breaking ball spun down in the dirt for ball one, 1 ball and 2 strikes as McWaters wants the baseball right back from Bobby Stang. Currently, the Doubledays are 2-0 when playing on the road here in Jamestown. This will be their 3rd and final ball game against the Tarp Skunks. Here comes the 2-2. Swing and a line drive to center field. Emil Sander coming in, makes the catch. Grady Mead tags. Here's a throw to the plate. It's not in time. It takes a while to hop in. It's a sacrifice fly by Evan Frahala. He scores Grady Mead from third base. And the Tarp Skunks take the first lead of the ball game. It's 1-0 in the bottom half of the first inning. And it feels a little bit like deja vu all over again, according to Bill Murray. An unearned run to McWaters with the runner in me advancing all the way around to third because of the error. More importantly, though, 1 away. I'll bring up Jake Kernodle. The first pitch he sees is a little tap around front of the plate, and it's picked up foul by Bobby Stang. Right about to whip a ball over to first base. So the runners will retreat back to their bags. Kernodle, he is 1 for 2. Back in game 1, makes that 1 for 3, excuse me. He reached on an error back in the 6th inning. Base hit in the first and a strikeout sandwiched in between. Healthy lead at first base by Googans. Waters paying close attention. Putting a little check over his left shoulder. The 0-1. Fastball zips on the inside corner, just at the bottom of the knees. Gets a called strike, 0-2 now the count. Very much needed day off tomorrow before a trip back to Newark on Tuesday evening. McWaters move over to first base, back in diving safely at first base is Googans. Auburn, like I said, they know this team likes to run a lot, over 120 bag swipes so far this year. Here's the 0-2. Swinging a jammer off the hands over to second base. Dolan has it, a rushed throw to first base, and it punched out by the field umpire, getting a rain of boos coming in from this crowd. A very healthy, packed house here on Sunday night. They're expecting fireworks post-game. It's a routine ground out by Kernodle, but it wasn't easy. Dolan able to rush the throw over to first base in time and on target, and that brings up the designated hitter, Matt Thompson. Got the job at third base back in game 1. Is just going to be doing some hitting tonight in game 2. McWaters closed off stance from the first base side of the rubber, takes a look over at Googans at second. The first pitch. Breaking ball spun down in the dirt for ball 1, 1 ball and no strikes. Thompson batting .253 entering into game 2. Here comes a 1-0. Fastball speeds up his bat off the hands and fouls it back to the screen. Count evens up at a ball and a strike apiece. See a couple of fans from Auburn making the trip all the way out here to Jamestown. Always nice to see the Auburn faithful making the drive out, following their team on the road. A couple of looks over at second. Here's the 1-1. Breaking ball looped in the shallow center field. Emil Sander will glide in and make the catch, chest high to retire the side. Jamestown strikes first, though. We end the bottom half of the first inning with the Tarp Skunks leading 1-0. We'll be right back on the Doubledays Baseball Network. Picking things up here in the top half of the second inning, the Doubledays will send them their order 4, 5, and 6. Bobby Stang, Garrett Prosper, and Christian Malillo against the left-hander Evan Berta. Got a clean first inning, a ground out, and back-to-back strikeouts. As Bobby will lead us off here in the top of the second. The baseball was found loose on the field, so we had to take a second to wait. And what are we waiting for now? Oh, we're waiting for one more guy to take the field. I had to wait for the shortstop, Grady Me, to take his time out of the dugout. So here we go. Now we're set for the top half of the second inning here from Jamestown. Our last visit here of the summer. First pitch, breaking ball, taking over the heart of the plate for a called first strike on Bobby. Nothing to win the count to the Doubledays backstop. Double in game 1. Didn't lead to any runs scoring though. The 0-1. Fastball bounces in the dirt for ball 1. 1 ball and 1 strike evens up the count. I mentioned the Doubledays currently with the season series in their palm of their hand, looking for a sweep. Currently in a 6-game series, the Doubledays lead by 5. 2 games winners here on the road. The 1-1. Breaking ball snaps back on the outside corner for a called strike. It's now 1-2. Game 1 was played all the way back in Auburn. That was back on June the 6th, back when the Tarp Skunks were the talk of the league. Doubledays handed them their first loss of the season back at home. And that's just been the tradition this year for Auburn. Here comes the 1-2. Swinging a chopper foul down the third base side. Some Tarp Skunks players are in some folding chairs down the line by the Tarp. Some kids were also hanging out behind trying to get themselves a baseball. Ends up just bouncing down away down the line. 1 ball and 2 strikes for Holla, setting up high. The 1-2. Swing and a foul tip into the glove of the catcher for Holla for strikeout number 3. That's 3 straight strikeouts for Berta here in the top half of the second now. 1 away, and that brings up Garrett Prosper. Well, this is certainly not exactly what Prosper had in mind when coming to the ballpark today, facing every single lefty in this Jamestown arsenal. First pitch swinging, chopper over to second base. Good stop, never mind. It's right through Tommy Googans on a slide. It looked like he was gonna just barely tip the baseball. It's a leadoff, or make that a one-out single by Prosper. He's aboard at first base. That will bring up now Christian Malillo, the switch hitter. Pulls a chopper right off the front of the plate for Prosper. Gets on past Hauk, the first baseman, easily. Googans with some interesting range. He wasn't playing too deep in the four-hole. He still ended up coming within just about an inch or two of the baseball. So Prosper aboard at first base, takes his lead. The first pitch to Christian Malillo is tapped foul down towards the Doubledays dugout. Nothing won the count. Auburn with 2 switch hitters in their lineup. Christian Malillo, 1 of 2. Carson Gross, the other. Had 3 with Bryce Moore at the beginning of the year. He later jumped ship earlier in the season. The 0-1. Breaking ball taken upstairs for strike 2. No balls and 2 strikes, and Christian now having a battle deep 0-2. He's looking to get a spark back into his summer, going into the playoff run. The 0-2. Breaking ball taken down low for ball 1 for Holla. Really moved the mitt back up to the zone. Home plate umpire wasn't buying it. Perfect temperature for baseball, especially up in a booth without any air conditioning. The 1-2. Fastball pulled outside for ball 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes evens up the count. And if you're Malillo right now, you got to know which pitches are probably going to be the one to make you swing and miss at. Choked up, moved up on his line. The 2-2. Swinging a tapper foul. Malillo just gets somehow a piece of the baseball. Gets hit off the home plate umpire's shin guards. So he'll try it again at 2-2. Sun's still slowly setting. Now the entire field is covered in shade. Move over to first base, and Prosper somehow is able to back in to first base with a dive, a modified dive. He ended up on his hands and knees. Takes off his couple of leads off first base, short. Here comes the 2-2. Fastball runs upstairs for ball 3. Now with the count running full 3-2. Might possibly see Prosper at first base trying to get the pitcher's attention and see if he can cause Berta to just miss something wider, give him a cookie fastball. Here's the 3-2. Breaking ball, check swing, does he go around? Yes, he does, says the home plate umpire, and it looked like the field umpire was gonna agree with it too. He was already nodded. That's 4 batters retired on strikeouts so far tonight for Berta. That will bring up Logan Krowowski. Krowowski, he got his last opportunity against Jamestown. That was back on Sunday in game 2. Here's the first pitch. Fastball misses below the zone for ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes. Here's the 1-0. Swing and a miss. Comes up empty on a fastball on the outside edge. Evens up the count at a ball and a strike. Swing and a miss for Krowowski. He comes up empty, and now the count is a ball and 2 strikes. Left-hander leans in. Here's the 1-2. Breaking ball misses well outside in the other batter's box for ball 2, 2-2. Krowowski 0 for 2, and the last time he faced Jamestown reached on an error back in the 3rd inning of that ball game in game 2 and then lined out to left. 1 for 5 so far on the year. Here's the 2-2. Swing and a miss. Waves at a slider in the dirt and comes up empty for another strikeout. The 5th man retired via the K tonight by Berta. We now go to the bottom half of the 2nd with the Doubledays currently trailing 1-0.
Thanks, Jeremy. Down there, we have 2 hot dogs, 1 mustard and 1 relish. Let's hear it for them. What they got to do is race all the way down this left field line to me here at 3rd base. Are you guys ready down there? Are you ready, Jamestown? 3, 2, 1, go!
Picking things up here in the bottom half of the second inning, the Doubledays down a run. It's 1-0. Devin McWaters back out for another inning of work. He'll have Kieran Gagno, Drew Garth, and Colin Hauk. 6, 7, and 8 due up here in Game 2 of our split doubleheader between the Doubledays and the Jamestown Tarp Skunks. Trevor Curl along with you high up in the catbird seat right next to our video camera, so your view is my view, except I can see a little bit more of the outfield and the surrounding areas here in the ballpark. Here's the first pitch from McWaters with Gagno dropping down a bunt. Woolley gloves it. The throw to first base is in the runner, and it gets on by Prosper. Dolan on the backup, but it is a bunt single. Reaching first is Kieran Gagno, so now the first bunt signal for Jamestown finally works after they've been trying it. Seems like every single batter has squared around at some point tonight. That will bring up the right fielder, Drew Garth, now to hit with a man aboard at first base. Jamestown's, that is their second hit of the ball game, 1 run on 2 hits. The Doubledays only with 1 hit so far. That was the Prosper single back in the top of the inning. Short lead at first base, the first pitch, swing and a miss. Good fastball on the outside corner, gets a swinging strike, 0-1. Sun still blasting right through the treetops overhead. Beyond the right field wall, a gorgeous scenery. Probably the best backdrop in the league, if I do say so myself. Couple of looks over at first, the 0-1. Fastball runs outside off the corner for ball 1, 1 ball and 1 strike. The Tarp Skunks get their name for a couple of interesting reasons. I believe it was an old owner for Jamestown was nicknamed Tarp. Couple of looks, here's the 1-1. Swing off the end of the bat, falling in. Emil Sander gliding in. He's going to watch this one fall in. The throw to second base is not in time. Back-to-back singles for Gagno and Garth. They put 2 aboard. But still nobody out here in the bottom of the second inning. That brings up Colin Hauk. But the name Tarp Skunks comes from the creatures that roam around the upstate New York area, and well, I guess even the outskirts of New York as well here in Jamestown. Apparently these creatures running all around the ballpark that can be seen after games are done in the evening time when the last few people are locking up. A couple of skunks are rolling around the main concourse. A couple looks at second base, the first pitch. Fastball zips in on the corner for a called first strike, 0-1. Talk about the Doubledays offensive production over the last couple of games. It's not been an easy one. 4 runs so far. That's the most runs scored in the ball game over the last 3 games for the Doubledays. Here comes the 0-1. Breaking ball catches the inside edge for a called strike. 0-2 now on Colin Hauk. Apparently also Skunks live out in the bullpen, in the visitors' bullpen. Bench down the line where the Doubledays are at, so hopefully there's none more of those left in the area. Long bus ride home after that. Here comes the 0-1, runner takes off for third, and Bobby's gonna throw to second base. The tag applied, not in time. Doubledays infield was not on the same page. Bobby took an extra second to send the throw over to second base. He saw the jump that Kieran Gagno got from second base. He was well into third safely. Now the back end throw to second base was just a tad late, so 2 aboard in scoring position here. With still nobody out here in the bottom half of the second inning, McWater's gonna have to work a little extra harder to get out of this one. Here comes the 1-2. Breaking ball spun, but it's hit well out to left center field. Emil Sander going back, he's there to make the catch. Runner's tag. It's only Gagno who tags from third base. He's in to score on another sacrifice fly. So McWaters is able to get the first out. A run does come across to score, but that first out is probably more important, so that's something that Devin will certainly trade a run for an out for, as we now have the bottom of the order, Connor Bendick, the extra hitter, batting 9. One more batter, Alex Ahlstrom, will bat 10, and then the order will flip back to the top. That's a second sacrifice fly hit to center field in the ball game. 2-0 Jamestown lead. Couple looks over at second. Here's the first pitch. Squares around, drops a big Baltimore chop of a bunt. Woolley fields it fair. The throw to first base, bounces in, and Prosper digs him out at first base, keeping the runner held up at third base. A big play by the cornerman on the infield. 2 away. Now that brings up Alex Ahlstrom. So interesting, sack bunt with 2 outs. I'm sure that was more or less tailored to try and become a base hit more than a sacrifice bunt. Runner does move up 90 feet over to third base. Here's the first pitch on the way. Fastball bounces in for ball 1 to Ahlstrom. Ahlstrom was the runner back on Friday night, last Friday night I should say, when the Doubledays, Michael Sills picked him off at first base to retire Jamestown and start the 7-game winning streak. Here's the 1-0. Fastball late and sent back to the screen. A fiery line drive. Just got a little under it and a little late. Mentioned McWaters will run that fastball up into the low 90s when he's feeling good. Had plenty of time to rest. Got the start in game 2. Pretty much got a chance just to chill in the dugout of the bullpen during game 1. Here comes the 1-1. Breaking ball spun up to the top of the zone, but it's sent foul down the first base side out of play. McWaters now ahead at a ball and 2 strikes, and if he's able to escape the jam here with only surrendering 1, he'll take that as a win. The firepower of the Auburn offense always is a lurking threat. Here comes the 1-2. Spinning breaking ball. Chopped over to Woolley down the line. He's got it. Long throw across the diamond, and it's in time. Prosper's heel is still anchored onto the front corner of the bag, and the sider is retired. McWater escapes, only surrendering a run. We now go to the top half of the 3rd inning. The Doubledays trailing by 2. It's 2-0.
Fans will be hosting Sharkdale Cancer Game, Arkansas Field with the details.
Thanks, Jeremy. All right, Jamestown, do you want a chance to win a game worn Tarp Skunks jersey like Mrs. Dolph's wearing right now? Well, this Wednesday, July 26th, we're going to be hosting our Strikeout Cancer Game. In that game, the guys are going to be wearing these pink jerseys. We're sponsored by the American Cancer Society. We're fundraising to try to defeat cancer and selling these raffle tickets that Mrs. Dolph has. She'll be around to sell these tickets, as well as in the merch store we have some to be sold for $30. We accept cash, credit, and Venmo. All the proceeds from this are going to the American Cancer Society to help defeat cancer. So let's show your support, and we'll hope to see you on Wednesday when we play that game.
Picking things up here in the top half of the 3rd inning, the Doubledays will send 8, 9, and 10 due up against Evan Berta, who's just been on cruise control since entering for game 2. Michael Woolley against left-handers. We've already talked about him being a much better hitter against left-handers. A couple of games, though, against left-handed pitching has been a little bit of a slower start. The first pitch he sees is a chopper foul down the third base line. No balls and a strike, and we're still hearing the surrounding sounds from the Jamestown area. Motorcycle motoring on by. We had the siren from a police vehicle earlier on. The 0-1 pitch is chopped to short. This is going to be a tough play for me. He's got it on the infield grass. The throw to first base is in time. Oh, it looked like Woolley might have just missed out by a half a step. Brady Mee, an athletic play at shortstop, retires the Doubledays third baseman, 1 away, and that brings up Kevin Dolan. It was a big Baltimore chop. The Doubledays have seen a lot of that over the last couple of days. It's just been a tough offensive couple of weeks. First pitch, fastball, catches the outside corner, called first strike, 0-1. Taking a look at the rest of the league here on this Sunday evening. The 0-1 pitch is upstairs for ball 1, 1 ball and 1 strike. Take a look around the rest of the league. An important one in Colburn. Elmira currently leading 3-0 over the Pilots. The Doubledays will see Newark on Tuesday. The 1-1 pitch is off the end of the bat, cued over to second base. Googans, after a tough hop off the cut of the grass, to throw to first base, and it's in time to get Dolan down the line. 2 away, and that brings up Emil Sander. So the last batter to face the first time around of the order for Berta. He's only given up 1 hit. That's been his only little blood spot after a good start. Here's the first pitch to Emil. Fastball off the catcher's glove of Frahala. It bounces away for ball 1, 1-0. Now time is called by the home plate umpire. He's waiting for Carson Gross to make his way back to the on-deck circle after going for the baseball behind the plate. Here comes the 1-0. Fastball pulled down in the dirt for ball one, 1 ball and 1 strike. And we look at the Doubleday scores throughout the last couple of ball games offensively. They had their big 18-run game back in game 2 of the doubleheader against Newark. A high fly ball sent out to right field, right in the path of Drew Garth. We'll have more on that later about the Doubledays offense as we now go to the bottom half of the 3rd inning. It's another 1-2-3 inning. Auburn offense currently trying to figure out anything to get this side going. Devin McWaters back out for another inning of work, trying to keep this one held to 2 runs.
Just use your Jamestown PGCBL Orange RFID pin at least once during your billing period. That's all you need to do.
Picking things up here in the bottom half of the 3rd inning, the Doubledays currently trailing the Tarp Skunks by a score of 2-0 as we take a look at the Doubledays scorebook over the last couple of games during their whole 7-game winning streak. These are the final scores. Auburn winning against Jamestown 3-2, Auburn beating Jamestown 3-4, Auburn beating Niagara 1-2, Auburn beating Newark 3-0, Auburn beating Newark 18-4. That's the one outlier. Auburn beating Geneva 1-2, then losing to Elmira 1-5, and then winning game 1 4-2 tonight. It's the offense. The runs just haven't been producing like they were back in June. The first pitch on the way is taking a called ball down in the dirt for ball 1 to Grady Mee. He's 1 for 1 in this one with a run scored after reaching on a base hit back in the top half of the first, make that the bottom half of the 1st inning. Here comes the right-handers 1-0. Mee squaring around a bunt, and a pitch runs in inside. It actually hits the right foot of Grady Mee, so he'll take his bag at first base. A hit batter. That is back-to-back innings where the leadoff man reaches on against McWaters and the Doubledays defense. Now they'll have to deal with Tommy Googans. Had a flying chopper hit right under the wickets of the 2nd baseman. Rolled into center field. That brought Mee all the way around to 3rd base. He came in to score on the sacrifice fly. So an 0 for 1 night so far for Googans. Mee, good speed off at first base, healthy lead. Here's the first pitch. Bunt is squared around, popped up right to McWaters. He gets the baseball, tries to do a quick transfer, but it's no match for Mee. He's already back at first base, reading the baseball up after the bunt. So another bunt attempt by the Tarp Skunks. This one more works out in the favor for the Doubledays. It's 1 away, and that brings up Evan Fahala. Currently 8:17 local time here from Jamestown, and like we mentioned, it will be another long one back home. But luckily, it's a day off tomorrow, and I'm sure all the guys are feeling excited about that. Here's McWaters' first pitch. Swinging a ground ball up the middle. Carson with a sliding stop, flips it to Dolan for 1. The relay onto first base is not in time. Fahala beats it out on the back end, but Carson Gross with a diving stop up the middle had to quickly transfer the ball over to Dolan. Luckily, he didn't flip it too high for his 2nd baseman, who was still able to make a strong enough throw to first base to make it somewhat of a competitive race to the bag. But safe on the back end for Fahala, 2 away, and that brings up Jake Kernodle. So Grady Mee, the speedster, is off the bags at least for the 2nd out. Kernodle grounded out to 2nd his first time up. The first pitch. Fastball taken down low for ball 1, 1 ball, no strikes. And from what I've noticed over here in the upstate New York, at least the entire New York state as a whole, I love evenings a lot more than I do mornings to mid-afternoons. The time here, the days just age so beautifully out in the beautiful scenery overhead. The 1-0 pitch, breaking ball taken on the inside corner for a called strike, 1-1. Well, you got the rolling green hills of the Appalachia Mountains overhead. Doubledays playing currently in the shadow of Huff Hill, deep behind center field. Sam Huff got it to start last time we were here on that Friday night. He got the win, the 1-1. Swinging a ball fisted down the first base side off the retaining wall foul. Ball and 2 strikes now. Auburn, a very thin bullpen here in game 2. Jake Danieluk available, Michael Sills available, Teddy Nelson, and Alex Piccolo. That is it. This Doubledays roster was enormous at the beginning of the year. Slowly has weeded its way down to what it is today. Inching off the bag at first base for Hall. The 1-2. Swing and a miss. Devin McWaters gets his first strikeout of the ball game. Takes until the bottom of the 3rd inning, but it's a big strikeout to keep the Doubledays only trailing by 2 as we now go to the top half of the 4th inning. Auburn, let's get those bats rolling. It's about time to have a little Auburn Doubledays rally.
Thanks, Jeremy. All right, I'm down here with James. He's going to play our Jamestown Tarp Skunks, deal or no deal. All right, James, what you have to do is pick 2 of these cases to get rid of. You do not want what's inside of those. All right, what 2 cases are those? 10, 4. All right, we're down to 1 and 3. Jamestown, let me hear it for 1. Jamestown, let me hear it for 3. All right, buddy, you're still going to decide. Do you want 1 or 3? 3. All right, that open up case 3. See what he's got. You won 1 Tarp Skunks t-shirt. Congratulations.
And welcome back to Jamestown. The Doubledays looking for answers. They have a new man to deal with on the mound. It's the right-hander Ryan Rafalski currently on the year. It's a 3.20 ERA and 1-1 record. 9 games started 1. He's thrown in 25 1/3 innings pitched. He's given up 23 hits, 12 runs, 9 of them earned. Walked 18, struck out 27. Opponent's batting .245 against the right-hander. Currently attending Mercyhurst University out of Warren, Pennsylvania. Carson Gross will lead us off in the top of the 3rd. The first pitch is a called strike on the inside corner. 0-1. Well, let's correct ourselves. It's the top half of the 4th inning. Here's the 0-1. Swinging a line drive right to the glove of Colin Houck, the first baseman. Carson stung it, but it's right to the oven mitt at first base, 1 away, and that will bring up Hazel Martinez. Well, you'll soon come to know that when you go on a 7-game winning streak, you kind of figure that a lot of things have to go your way. It's very tough to string a couple of wins together. The first pitch to Martinez is a fastball bounced in the dirt for ball 1, 1 ball, no strikes. Like we mentioned, a lot of things have to go right, and well, this is an example of how things kind of aren't going right. A line drive hit around the button. It's caught. Martinez leans into one, sends a high drive deep to right field, backing up his Gar, still backing up, and he's ranging shy of the warning track to make the catch for out number 2, but there's a little bit of hope with 2 barrels coming from the Doubledays offense. So they're at least getting some better wood off the bat. This time Rafalski but it just has nothing to show for it. 2 loud outs as that will bring up A.J. Wenrich. Yeah, well, that makes things a little bit harder when you hit 2 balls around the button and they all are flyouts and lineouts. First pitch to Wenrich. Breaking ball taken down in the knees for a called strike, 0-1. Now they'll wind up the 1-0. Breaking ball chopped foul off the fingertips of Ben Julian. That ball's probably going to have a little sting on it. AJ does not shyly hit the baseball. Count evens up at a ball and a strike apiece. Here comes the right-handers, 1-1. Down in the dirt for ball 2. 2 balls and a strike. AJ in the driver's seat. Interesting look at the field here. Inside Jamestown, the 2-1. Breaking ball taken upstairs for ball 3, 3-1. You have the fences out here. You have a couple of double walls. You have one in right field, one in left field. A little break for the advertisements in the gaps. 3-1 pitch comes to the plate. Breaking ball taken upstairs. That should be ball 4. Oh, well, never mind. He called a strike on a pitch. Okay, never mind. The count's full at 3-2. Here comes the 3-2. Swinging a pop-up. Shallow center field, moving in on his Gagno. He calls up everybody. Now look out. Oh, my goodness. Drew Garth was just cruising in and then jumped right out of the way before Gagno cut himself off in front of him to make the catch to retire the side. Auburn gets a couple of hard contact, but nothing to show for it except a 1, 2, 3, 4th. We now go to the bottom half of the inning. Doubledays currently trailing 2-0. Picking things up here in the bottom half of the 4th inning, the Doubledays currently trailing 2-0 against the Jamestown Tarp Skunks. It will be flipping things up to the meat of the order again. Matt Thompson, Kieran Gagno, and Drew Garth, 5, 6, and 7 due up against Devin McWaters. As Logan Madsen, the first base coach for the Doubledays, sending the outfield a couple of steps back for the power that Thompson can possess. The right-hander deals the first pitch on the way, swinging a line drive right field. Kowalski giving chase on his tail. He's there into right field to make the catch. And Andrew Isdale on the charts gives Logan Madsen a high five. Sometimes there's a quick instinct and it pays off. Kowalski runs it down the line for the first out here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Quickly, the first man's retired. One away, that brings up Kieran Gagno, the center fielder. Oh, that's why you keep charts in the dugout. Even in summer ball, the Doubledays are full on the chart game. First pitch, breaking ball, taken inside for a called first strike, 0-1 the count. Bobby couldn't handle the breaking ball from McWaters. He still treats summer ball somewhat a little bit like you would a college season. Doesn't have the same effect to it. The 0-1 pitch is a breaking ball taken outside for ball 1, 1 ball, 1 strike, and the throw goes right through McWaters off to second base. These guys, it's an interesting dynamic that summer ball is. You have guys come from different schools. You have guys from Georgia. You have guys from New York. You have guys from Colorado. The 1-1. Taken for a called strike at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes now. You have guys from Washington. You have guys from California. You have guys from Texas. All over coming together for one summer ball season, which is roughly 8 weeks. The 1-2. Fastball, make that a slider, swung on and missed on the outside corner. Devin McWaters finds his second strikeout of the ball game against Gagno. 2 away, and that will bring it Drew Garth. But you have guys from all over the place coming together for one common goal: to find a way to get better, 1, and 2, find a way to win a league championship, and that's been on the mind for the Doubledays, especially as this 7-game winning streak that they were on made it a little more possible. First pitch is swung on and roasted into left field. Backing up is Malillo, but he is there to make the catch in medium depth left field to end the inning. We now go to the top of the 5th inning. This game is rolling right on by. Auburn still looking for that first offensive spark in game 2. The Doubledays currently trailing 2-0.
Hey, Jeremy. All right, Jamestown. We got the Dizzy Bat game back. So what these guys got to do is take these baseball bats and put them on their foreheads. And they're going to have to spin 15 times before they're allowed to shoot the ball that one of these guys gives them. Here's the catch. They cannot shoot past where I am standing right here, or else they're going to be blocked. Are you guys ready to spin? Are you ready, Jamestown? All right, 15 spins in 3, 2, 1, go! They're tied at 10 spins. Oh, they're done spinning. Oh, you're too close, you're too close, you're too close. Oh, good cover.
Winner. Fans, stand for the all things Tarp Skunks by visiting our website, tarpskunks.com. Check out the history of baseball in Jamestown, plus all the partners that help make baseball in Jamestown possible.
And our online shop with our sweet, sweet merch.
Check out our website, tarpskunks.com today.
Top of the 5th inning here inside Jamestown this evening is rolling right along, just like the clouds overhead. Another gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous summer evening for baseball here in upstate / West New York. Bobby Stang, Garrett Prosper, and Christian Malillo, 4, 5, and 6 due up. First pitch, breaking ball, taken on the outside corner for a called first strike, 0-1. You just cannot talk about how beautiful it has been this season everywhere we've gone. The first, make that the 0-1 pitch is taken down in the dirt for ball, 1 ball, 1 strike. Obviously, Falcon Park, I keep mentioning it, definitely the #1 ballpark in the league. The 1-1. Breaking ball roasted down the left field line. That's going to hit the foul ball grass. And oh man, that would have been the spark that the Doubledays offense needed. Instead, Bobby's going to readjust the batting gloves before he starts walking back to home plate. Just a hair too early. Bobby grabs the lumber before he digs himself back into the right-hand batter's box. Ryan Rafalski in relief in his second inning of work. He set the Doubledays down 1, 2, and 3 in the 4th. The 1-2. Fastball runs upstairs above the eyes for ball 2. But it does have to be known that it was not a quiet 1, 2, 3. All 3 outs were somewhat loud contact. The 2-2. Spinner taking off the plate outside for ball 3. And now the count runs full to 3-2 to Bobby, leading things off. Heck, you take a walk, you take anything to get on base here to lead off an inning. Here comes the 3-2. Another spinner taken inside for ball 4. Bobby sends the bat down to the first base dugout. He'll take the jog down to greet Logan Matson. It's the second batter, I think the second runner to reach base tonight. Garrett Prosper now 1 for 1. Move over to first base, back diving safely is Bobby. Only been 1 hit so far in the ballgame. That was by Prosper hitting a flying chopper through the right side of the infield back in the second. Here's the first pitch. Swinging a pop-up on the infield. Second baseman Tommy Googins calls it off. And he's there to make the catch in between first and second, one away. And that'll bring up Christian Malillo. Just got a little under that one. But again, the Doubledays look like they're seeing the baseball just a little bit better against Rafalski than they were against Barta. Surprised to see his night done only after 3 innings of work. He was cruising through the Doubledays lineup. First pitch, fastball taken upstairs for ball one, 1 ball and no strike to Christian Malillo. The lights have been turned on inside the ballpark, high towering over top of the field. The 1-0 pitch is a breaking ball taken on the outside corner for a called strike to even up the count at 1-1. Fred McGriff and Scott Rowland from about 4-ish hours, maybe more closer to 8 hours away from here, got inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame. 1-1 pitch is a breaking ball taken down in the dirt for ball 2, 2 balls and a strike. Rowland, a third baseman, most notably known for his time with the St. Louis Cardinals. Fred McGriff has bounced around a couple of teams, was never mind to throw over to first base, back in diving safely is Bobby. Mostly known for his time with the Atlanta Braves. He spent a little bit of time in Tampa Bay with the Rays, but he goes in as somebody who's unaffiliated. Here's the 2-1. Swing and a miss. Big hack from Christian Malillo. He comes up empty, and now the count evens up at 2-2. And a lot of people were thinking that Fred would not make it to the Hall of Fame, but that was certainly not the case. We were just waiting for a matter of time. 2-2. Fastball taken upstairs for ball 3, and the count runs full 3-2. Prolific hitter in the box, could hit for power, could hit for average. Played a really good first base as well. Rowland was an elite defender at third base for the Redbirds in his career. Here comes the full count, 3-2. Swing cracked into center field. Backing up is Kieran Gagno, but he's there to make the catch in deep center field. Bobby retreats back to first base. It's 2 outs here in the bottom, make that the top of the 5th inning. And I'll bring up Logan Kowalski.
The Auburn Doubledays. Starting fielder number 39, Logan Kowalski.
Well, Logan has yet to have his Doubledays moment. Almost everyone on this Doubledays roster has been able to pick out one moment from the season and call it theirs. Logan's still waiting for his. The first pitch, swing and a miss. He comes up empty in the top of his helmet. Nothing to 1 the count on Doubledays left-hander. Him and Bolton currently attending Cortland, going into their sophomore years. The 0-1. Fastball taken up above the eyes for ball 1, 1 ball and 1 strike, evens up the count. Christmas in July, so almost everything entertainment-wise in the ballpark has been themed to December. The 1-1 pitch, swung on and missed. Karofsky have another violent hack, but a little tardy. Now that's the battle of a ball and 2 strikes on him. Bobby with the leadoff walk still is at first base. Rafalski comes set, working from the first base side of the rubber. Comes with a breath. The 1-2 pitch to the plate. Fastball runs up the ladder for ball 2. Just sticking with the heat against Kowalski. He has yet to time up a good fastball so far. Bobby takes off the bag at first base. Here comes the right-handers. 2-2 pitch to the plate. Down in the dirt for ball 3. And with a full count, Bobby will get a head start. So if Logan can find the gap here, he might be able to bring home his backstop from first base. Left fielder Alec Ahlstrom playing deep down the line, and they're going to call a balk on the play. Bobby's going to end up at second base. Colin Houck was off the bag at first base. The throw went to him. He was nowhere in the vicinity, and Bobby Stang will move up 90 feet on the box, so that helps out a little bit. Might not take a base hit in the gap. You might be able to find a way just to get a little looper in and bring home your runner from second. Here comes the 3-2. Swing and a miss on a breaking ball in the dirt, and it is called strike 3. No drop, 3rd strike. Kowalski retired to retire the side. We now go to the bottom half of the 5th inning. The Doubledays offense still looking for their answers. Devin McWaters will head back out for another inning of work. It's 2-0 in favor of the Tarp Skunks. Picking things up here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Devin McWaters back out for his 5th inning of work. He's got Colin Hauk, Connor Bendeck, and Alec Ahlstrom. 8, 9, and 10 due up for the Tarp Skunks against the Charleston Southern right-hander. The first pitch of the inning is a flying chopper over the head of Woolley. Deep in the hole for Carson. Long throw across the diamond, and it's in time. Gets a long throw deep from the 6th hole and takes away a base hit from Colin Hauk, hustling down the first base line. It was a big Baltimore chop right off the front of the plate. It bounced well over the head of Michael Woolley. You had Woolley playing in on the grass because you have seen how aggressive Jamestown has been with bunts so far tonight. Carson with a strong throw deep in the hole. Here comes the first pitch on the way to Connor Bendeck. It's a called strike on the outside corner. 0-1. There we go, Carson showing off the cannon from shallow left field. Here comes the 0-1. Swinging another chopper. This one a little bit tougher for Woolley. He's got a glove on it. Takes an extra step. Throw to first base. Yes, it is in time. Garrett Prosper anchors himself on the bag. It's 2 fine plays by the left side of the Doubledays infield. 2 away as the home plate umpire wants to take a look at the 108 steams in the leather. Give Devin McWaters a fresh new baseball out of the pouch. 2 quick outs here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. I'll bring up Alex Ahlstrom. He's 0 for 1. He grounded out to third his first time up. Just 2 really quick outs here, both on big chops right off home plate. Here comes McWaters' first pitch. Fastball runs inside, buzzes the tower of Ahlstrom. Has to lean out of the way. It's 1-0 to count to start the at-bat. Here's a 1-0 home. Fastball, foul tip into the glove of Bobby Stang, and the count will even up at a ball and a strike apiece. Looks like fireworks could possibly be popped off without the darkness. The 1-1. Fastball spiked in the dirt for ball 2. 2 balls and a strike. Trying to hear what the chant is coming from some fans down the left field line. Here comes the 2-1. Fastball taken upstairs for ball 3. 3-1 the count. Talking with the visiting broadcast crew, and they said this is definitely not the easiest of places to play home game or play away games for road teams. McWaters out of the windup. Here comes the 3-1. Fastball punches the inside corner for a called strike 2. Now the count runs full. But the Doubledays have certainly found their way here on the road. 2-0 here inside of Jamestown. Here comes McWaters. Full count pitch to the plate. Swung on and miss. A good fastball on the outside corner. McWaters cleans up the 5th inning. A couple of groundouts and a strikeout. We now go to the top half of the 6th inning. The Doubledays